Welcome back for another video. The wildcard is active, and in today's video I'll be running through the Gameweek team selection and thoughts heading into this game week. If you missed the Gameweek players to buy video, make sure you give that a watch too, it'll be on screen at the end. Loads to think about this game week, and the wildcard is active with 3 postponements: Man United, Leeds, Chelsea, Liverpool, Brighton and Crystal Palace all blanking. Before we get into it, about a third of viewers are subscribed, so if you're one of those and you're not part of the channel, hit subscribe. There's fresh uploads every week all season. It's completely free and you can always change your mind. Starting off with a quick look back at how Gameweek 7 went. 0 points all out, enough for a green arrow. Captain Ward blanked, but fortunately no one else in the team outscored him, so in hindsight it was the correct decision to captain Ward. Salah frustrated again with another blank, as did Haaland surprisingly. All in all, no complaints though, 4 green arrows in a row. Let's have a look at the wildcard draft, shall we? At the end of the video I'll share a second draft, also my thinking, with a couple of key differences. However, this draft is my current team and the preferred one. In goal, Pope joins the team, home to Bournemouth this weekend. He's the top scoring keeper in the game currently, and Newcastle are top of the clean sheet odds in Gameweek 8. In my eyes, he's an excellent long-term pick considering the fixtures Newcastle have, and over the next 8 game weeks, Pope's top among all keepers for projected points, which will take us all the way to the World Cup, which is after Gameweek 16. For the first time this season, we line up with a new formation, and it's a back 3 consisting of Trippier, Perisic and Cancelo. Trippier is a no-brainer on a wildcard considering Newcastle's fixtures, starting with Bournemouth at home. He's on set pieces and he scored a free kick back in Gameweek 3 against Man City. Bournemouth have conceded 100 crosses down their left flank, which is more than twice as many as their right flank and 25 more than any other team. His 29 corners is the most among defenders, and only Trent can beat him for crosses or chances created. Perisic is somewhat of a minute's risk, but if it looks like he's in line to start against Leicester, then he's a good pick on the wildcard. He has an expected goal involvement every 271 minutes, which only James and Trent can beat this season among defenders. Arsenal with Gameweek 9 is a more concerning fixture, but we've got options on the bench to rotate on. Cancelo keeps his spot in the team and he completes the defence. Walker wasn't in Man City's last training session, which could point towards Cancelo and right back again, where he was very impressive against Sevilla, picking up 2 assists. He is right-footed, so naturally could be his better position for goal threat. So far his underlying numbers have been unimpressive, just 0.52 XGI, or every 936 minutes. Again, for comparison, Perisic is every 271 minutes. The midfield is Saka, Martinelli, Maddison and Saint-Maximin. Spoilers, we've shifted Jesus on, but we have retained the Arsenal double-up in Saka and Martinelli. Saka's really impressed me in the last few games and only 10% owned, which is surprisingly low. And even more surprisingly, he's suffered a couple of price drops to 7.8 mil. There is a temptation to opt for Bowen over him, but it's difficult to justify him without a single return in 6 matches, and Bowen has dropped 0.4 mil. West Ham's fixtures do look very good though, so perhaps they'll lead to an improvement in his form. Arsenal's Europa League game against PSV has been postponed this week, so the entire team are fully rested and they'll be raring to go in their ambitions to stay top of the Premier League table. I'm aware of Arsenal's tougher upcoming games, but there are plenty of options down the line such as Saka to Bowen or Zaha. It's a tough Gameweek 8 fixture for Maddison against Spurs, but it's hard to ignore the fixture run Gameweek 9 onwards, starting with Nottingham Forest at home and then Bournemouth away. 3 home games in 4. He's their main man, and despite how poor they've been, he's registered 3 attacking returns in 5 games. If Leicester can turn around their form, he'll be an outstanding pick and therefore worth the punt. Last season he scored 12 times and assisted 11 times for 181 points. Saint-Maximin completes the midfield, and this pick is dependent on getting news from Hal that he's back in training and available for selection. He missed Gameweek 5 and Gameweek 6 with a hamstring injury, but before that he scored in Gameweek 4 and picked up 3 assists in Gameweek 3. No team have conceded more goals than Bournemouth, and they're perhaps a team to target. Certainly so far this season, the most double-digit hauls by fixture has been at home to Bournemouth, with 7 double-digit hauls. The next highest is Leicester and Forest at home with 5. You may have guessed it from the cheaper midfield line, and we've gone big up top with a front 3 of Kane, Haaland and Mitrovic. We talked about how Leicester at home has produced 5 double-digit hauls this season, and Kane gets the vice-captaincy. He scored 5 goals and assisted once in his last 5 games, and there's a real temptation to captain him over Haaland. Among all players, he's on 4.95 XGI this season, which is second highest. Only Haaland has more with 7.16. So Haaland gets the armband for the Wolves game. With even less fixtures on, this game week he'll be comfortably the most popular captain again. In fact, we may see a new all-time record set for captaincy, which he had previously set himself earlier this season. The perfect FPL asset is a consistent, reliable one, and he's yet to blank this season, so he keeps the armband. If he plays the full 90 against Dortmund, it might be easier to make the case for Kane, but right now it's Haaland, and we'll count on the other 10 players to help gain ground. Speaking of consistency, Mitrovic has been phenomenal, 6 goals in 6, and he's on penalty duties. Forest have been another team to target who he faces this game week, followed by Newcastle, West Ham, Bournemouth and then Aston Villa, so he's an absolute no-brainer on the wildcard. It was a difficult decision to leave Isak out, who I feel is a really good pick as well, though if St Maximin is available then we at least have a Newcastle attacker. On the bench it's Ward, Andreas, Nico and James. There's a reasonable chance of Man City's Game Week 12 fixture away to Arsenal being postponed, but as long as Ward keeps his spot then he's playable that week, arguably the week before as well, when Leicester host Crystal Palace while Man City are away to Liverpool. There's a temptation to start Andreas over Maddison this week even. Andreas has registered a couple of assists and he is on corner duties, which tend to be aimed at Mitrovic. Chelsea's run of games after their blank are phenomenal, so James is a very sensible pick who will become a permanent starter in our team from Game Week 9 onwards. The team isn't locked in yet, but barring any injuries, most of the team is. The only question marks are St Maximin, Saka and Nico Williams. Bowen is a decent alternative to Saka, and St Maximin will leave the team if there's any doubts surrounding his minutes. West Ham's Emerson crossed my mind as an alternative to Nico for 4 mil, though his minutes are a big question mark too, with Cresswell returning from injury, and West Ham look better after recently switching from wing backs of Emerson to a back 4 without him. This is the alternative draft. The key difference is De Bruyne over Kane. Spurs looked a bit off it in the Champions League, losing 2-0 to Sporting. I'd expect De Bruyne to start the next few, as the Wolves game is followed by the international break, so there's no reason to rotate. Salah was on the score sheet again in the Champions League, which is also my thinking. The return of Thiago is a big boost, and I like the idea of having an easier route to Salah in around 4 game weeks if needed. De Bruyne also frees up a striker spot where there's a ton of value in the likes of Isak and Tony, whereas similarly priced midfielders like Bowen and Saka are perhaps not offering that. The bench is live for Game Week 8 in this draft. Fofana for 4.4 mil looks like a great pick if Potter can improve them. Many of us have been invested in Sanchez, Dunk, Veltman etc. for the same price at an inferior Brighton side, so logically for the same price under the same coach for a better team on paper, Fofana's worth consideration. I had Dean here at one point, but I can't do that to myself again. Alternatively, Nico Williams could make the bench spot instead for a bit of insurance this game week. Regardless, I will share the final team before the deadline on the channel and on Twitter, so make sure you're following me on both. Let me know which draft you like more. If you would like to follow my team and other content throughout the season, hit subscribe. That wraps up today's video, thanks for watching. Let me know in the comments what your plan is for Game Week 8. There's a couple more videos to come before the deadline, including most importantly the experts video, where there's been some serious activity this week. See you soon for the next one.